Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Turn Left. I am your host, Indiana's own Dana Black, coming to you live, yes, all the way live from Black Girl Studios, where we talk about Indiana politics from the left side of things. Wow, first show of the year, and I can't even remember my own call line? That's crazy. That's crazy. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. I hope everyone had an amazing holiday season. I know that I did. I tell you, the highlight of my season was on New Year's Day, getting to stand next to my boo as she got sworn in for her, count 'em, 1, 2, 3, third term as the Bloomington City Clerk, and nothing cooler than having her judge mom swear her in. So that was the highlight. I mean, Christmas was great, New Year's Eve was great, all those things. But, you know, we're a political junkie crew. And so to stand with my boo as she was being sworn in was the highlight of my holiday. I want to say this before I even get into my rant. There seems to be a lot of consternation going on in the world right now. Folks is all up in arms and feeling like violence and killing is the only way to solve problems, especially when they don't agree with how you pray. I want to say this. I say holiday season. It does not mean I don't want you to have a Merry Christmas. It doesn't mean I'm not saying Happy Hanukkah or whatever holiday that you celebrate during this time of year. There are multiple holidays, multiple religions who are celebrating holidays. And because I love everyone, and I want to see humanity love on each other, I will continue to say happy holidays. But I want to speak specifically right now to my Muslim and Jewish brothers and sisters. And I mentioned it at Senator Shelley Yoder's fundraiser last month. I love y'all. I love people who pray with Allah. I love the people who pray with Yahweh. And I love the people who pray with Jesus Christ, Buddha, and all of them. My point is this. I'm going to fight to make sure that you are protected in praying the way that you want, because this hate that we're seeing now, Black folks been seeing this hate for a long time. This level of hate ain't new. Gay folks been seeing this level of hate for a long time. Unfortunately, a lot of my less melanated brothers and sisters are experiencing things that they haven't felt. And I know my Jewish brothers and sisters have felt it at different points in history. And so have my Islamic brothers and sisters. But it's gotten to the point where we've just lost our collective human minds, and that killing people for the sake of killing people to prove a point is where we are right now. And I am of the mind and of the belief that the way we have systematically dismantled public education is one of the biggest reasons why we are seeing humanity in America specifically deteriorate at the rate that it has. You see, when you work so diligently to defund an institution, that means that institution will not receive the best resources that are required to accomplish the goal, which is inevitably to educate humans. Specifically in Indiana, we have this ridiculous voucher system. And listen, Republicans are going to tell you that, they increased public education by so many blah, 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 millions of dollars. We ain't going to talk about the fact they messed up with the Medicare thing. We ain't going to go there. But they also took millions of dollars from the public education fund so that people who make over family of 4 who makes over $220,000 a year can send their child who may not have ever gone to a public school to private and charter schools. That makes up about 1% of the entire population. 1% of these people are getting these vouchers. And people in my rural communities continue to vote for people who are defunding their school systems. Because if you listen to Republicans, they continue to tell you that it's all about school choice. It's choice. You got a choice. Choice where you can send your kid. It's a choice. It's a choice. It's a choice. If you're in rural Indiana and you're in a school district where there's only one corporation, maybe two corporations in the entire county? Can you please tell me what choice you have? What choice do you have? What choice do you actually have? Do you actually and honestly believe that a charter school, which is now a for-profit institution, is going to show up in your county where they realize there's no way to make a profit? Who's going to go? So now you don't have a choice. And the people that you continue to vote for in rural Indiana just said, we are going to take so many millions of dollars away from public education to give to these people who have choice, right? They got choice. And you don't have any, which means now your school corporation is trying to do the same with less resources. I don't know why they don't explain that to you. And because this is happening and they're not getting the resources, we're not able to pay teachers what they deserve. Teachers had to beg for some money. Can you please pay me so I don't have to go work for Uber? Can you please? Now you don't have the best teachers, and teachers are leaving the industry. And now listen, there are going to be some teachers there's some good teachers and there's some not so good teachers. And I promise you, the not so good teachers are going to be the ones that are going to go ahead and take the money and be like, okay, I'll just do whatever. So is your child actually getting the best of the best as far as education? And listen, I'm not hating on teachers. Trust no one believe that. But I mean, there's an A rating doctor and then there's a B rating doctor. There's an A rating dentist and there's a B rating dentist. I'm just saying. So now you have all of these school districts who are producing people who are not at their best. And then they get information and can't distinguish this information or disseminate information. And they don't learn about people who are different than them because you have silly little people who don't want to tell the truth about American history like it actually didn't happen, right? Didn't happen. They don't want to tell the truth. So now you got people running around with these notions of what they think people who are not like them are like, and they got it all screwed up. And they start with this hate in their heart. They're not being successful because they didn't get the education to go out and get the job. I mean, do you see how this perpetuates on and on and on and on? How people find themselves in an upset situation. So then somebody sees somebody like me, a good old masculine black lesbian who looks successful. I don't know what success means to you. I look like I'm all right. And they get mad because they think I'm taking something that they should have had. And so they get violent. And they want to hurt people. Now, mind you, it isn't all religions that are doing this. You got the Muslims fighting the Jews, and the Jews fighting the Muslims, and the Christians just trying to blow everybody up. Yep, I said it. So I am begging y'all, as we begin 2024, and I know I know that Cat Williams went in, and this is a political show, so I'm not going to talk about that. I'm going to start off with love in 2024 and hope that it spreads and permeates throughout the universe, because we have got to do better or we will no longer exist. All right. So I'm going to start with a couple of stories because I think it's important. You know, the General Assembly session is about to start next week. I'm excited about it because, as you guys know, I'm a political junkie, and I will sit there while I'm working and process and Act Blue questions. I will be listening to what's happening in the General Assembly. So I'm going to tell you about a couple of bills that a couple of Democrats are introducing so that we can try to see if these bills can get called into a committee. So sometimes it's not about trying to stop a bill. Sometimes we got to try to get bills pushed through. Okay. So 21 Alive reports State Representative Shelley Clinker of District 27 is first and foremost a teacher. Clinker spent decades in the classroom teaching grade levels from elementary to high school. While she's retired, she says she still volunteers and helps teach her district where her daughter also teaches. She says she has witnessed firsthand the hardships school districts are facing and at the lack of teachers in the classroom. That's why she's proposed a new bill she hopes will help. We need people in our profession desperately, and we need something to incentivize them to do that, Representative Clinker said. During this year's legislative session, Clinker is proposing House Bill 1037, which would increase teacher minimum salary to $60,000 a year. You learn a lot by going back into the classroom, Clinker said. There is a lot more expected of teachers in the classrooms. I mean, they got to go do gun training and everything now. Currently, the law requires a minimum salary of $40,000 for each full-time teacher. Clinker said from some of the rural and smaller school districts, that was a lot, and funding was tight. In 2023, Clinker proposed a similar bill that would have raised minimum wage to $50,000, but it died in the Education Committee. Many of our young people, including my daughter, who is a teacher here in Lafayette, weren't at the point at all. They weren't making $40,000 a year. So that bill was so important, but it was not enough to encourage people to come into our profession. What was I just talking about? So now, Representative Clinker is introducing a bill. Write it down, 1037. Call your representatives and see if we can get this bill called into a committee and get voted out of committee so that we can pay our teachers what they are worth. And when we pay our teachers what they are worth, it benefits the students. Simple as that. An educated society is a better society. All right, Chalkbeat reports a proposed bill would restrict the power to approve and oversee new charter schools in Indianapolis to two government authorizers, the Indiana Charter School Board and the Indianapolis Charter School Board. Under the legislation pitched by Democratic State Senator Andrea Hunley, a former Indianapolis public school principal, several other authorizers are active in the state and would no longer be allowed to approve charter schools in Marion County. Authorizers are institutions that have the power to approve or reject charters for new schools and provide oversight that an elected school board would for traditional public schools. In Indiana, they can be tied to school boards, the state and Indianapolis charter school boards, or certain universities. Hunley's bill follows a Chalkbeat Indiana report on charter school accountability that found roughly a third of brick and mortar or blended model charter schools in Marion County have closed since 2001. Hunley said the Chalkbeat report raises questions about whether authorizers are providing adequate oversight and quality control in Indianapolis. It's really a problematic process that's been allowed to happen, Hunley said. I think now we're seeing the reality of how damaging, destabilizing this can be for kids. Guys, the charter school choice don't work in Indianapolis. It don't work in rural Indiana. It don't work. They don't have them in the suburbs. They won't let them come in the suburbs. They're like, nah. So why is that? Why are there no charter schools in the suburbs? Huh? Guys, listen, it's a failed thing, but they're going to keep on doing it. Why? Because over half our budget is in education. And everybody's trying to dip into the money and pocket it for themselves and not giving a damn what happens to the students. Yes, there's going to be some lucky kids to get a great education. Yes, and they're going to be people who are successful in spite of the fact they got tossed around and they had to go to 15 different charter schools in Indianapolis. But it is not healthy for the future of our state. So tonight's rant is about how do we be better humans? We got to educate ourselves better, all right? And that's my rant because I want to hurry up and get to our guests. There's going to be a lot of changes this year. If you notice, the donate link this year, look, Turn Left is now an official fundraiser for our candidates. No longer will you see the individual fundraising links, but if they're on ActBlue, you can always go look them up. But if you want to donate so we can track and see how well we're fundraising for our candidates via Turn Left, click on the donate link that is in the chat. It is there. Please donate. It's not going to Turn Left. That money is going to be split between the two candidates who are on that show, or three, or however many there are on that show that particular day. And it'll show the candidate that, there's value in coming on Turn Left, that people are listening, and that people want to support our candidates. Okay? So donate on the link. Don't play. Turn Left so we can donate to our candidates because they're going to need our time, talent, and treasure if they want to win elections in 2024. All right. Now, that being said, Bohm's Unique Boutique is back as a sponsor of Turn Left So let me shout it out. And I got a couple of more ads I want to run for you today. All right. Come on, Dana.
Today's show is brought to you by Bohm's Unique Boutique. Click on the QR code. And for all Turn Left listeners, you can get a 10% discount on your order by using the code Democrat. Be sure to visit www.bohmsuniqueboutique.com.
And of course, Black Pearl Studios is not going anywhere. You know, some of our candidates aren't raising a lot of money. But they still need to get their message out. Be sure to click these links, y'all. These QR codes, scan the QR codes, and reach out to me, because it's not just Turn Left. Black Pearl Studios can help you with your video content. I created my own commercial there, right? It's not going to be super fancy. It's not going to be a $20,000 video, but it'll be something that'll help you get your message out on social media. Okay. And if you need help with advertising, I can help you with that. Yes, this is a paid service. I can't do everything for free, y'all. But this will give you guys an opportunity to get your message out. I would thank you to Blythe and Sarah last year, who let me shoot their commercials for them. We were able to get those knocked out, and they had a good response from them. So reach out to me, Indiana's own Dana Black, Black Pearl Studios, Black Pearl IT Solutions. I can assist you with your digital content for this campaign season. All right. Now, let's get to our guests. I had a lot to get in. It's the first show of the night, of the year, so I had a lot to get in. First up, you know, I got some homies in this business. I got some straight up dogs, like people that I just kick it with. One of these fine young humans I met years and years ago when she invited me into her home for Kentucky Derby party. That's how long ago it has been. Y'all, give it up for my first guest, who is running as candidate in House District 69, Miss Trish Whitcomb. Trish, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Dana. Glad to be here.
And of course, you know I love meeting new people. I've met them before, but haven't had a really chance to really dig down deep and have that wonderful conversation with him. But we're going to do it today. I met him at the Christmas party. Running in House District 35. Y'all give it up for candidate Phil Gift. Phil, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
I love it. All right, guys. Was there anything in my rant that y'all wanted to touch on? I mean, I was talking about a lot. Oh, come on, T-Dub. Bring it out.
Oh, baby, you're talking my language. You know, this whole thing about accountability in school funding is right in my heart. I think you remember when I worked for Glenda Ritz at the Department of Education, when we went in there in 2013, there was over $200 million in forgiven loans to charter schools from the Common School Fund loan. This is a problem that affects every school district in the state. Accountability for these tax dollars that are supposed to be going for education must be accounted for. And the other thing, I won't hog the whole program because Dana, you got me going on my favorite topic. The other thing about this thing with the charter schools opening and closing, you are right. That is death on education. So I want to commend Senator Andrea Hunley, on her bill to limit the number of charter schools. I think or the charter school authorization, and maybe we just pause on the formation of charter schools for a while until we get this figured out. And the other thing is, Representative Clinker, she's right. We need to be able to, I talked to a woman at Fresh Market the other day. She quit teaching because she can make more money at Fresh Market. So, yeah, baby.
So she can make more money.
Yeah.
Being a grocer is an honorable profession. I'm not hating on it or nothing like that.
Yeah, right.
But the idea that someone who is stocking your food shelves is making more than the person who's stocking your child's brain?
Right.
That's scary. That's scary.
Scary.
Phil, did you have anything that you wanted to jump in on that?
Yeah, I've got to say, you were basically preaching to the choir. I think the voucher system just needs to go. Last year, in the 2022-23 school year, there was $311.8 million that went to vouchers and did not go to your public school system. And we need to make sure that changes. And that's why I need to be elected to Indiana House 35, and we need to get Jennifer McCormick in the governor's mansion.
All right. That sounds like a lot, and we got a lot of work to do. Guys, again, you're going to like these candidates. Excuse me. You're going to like these candidates. Please, please click the donate link. $5, $10. You can even become a recurring donor. If you become a recurring donor, let me know, and I'll make sure we get you hooked up the right way. But please consider donating to our candidates, and as they begin to share with you why they are running for their office. All right, Trish, tell the people who you are and where you come from.
Oh man, I come from Indiana. I've been here. My family's been here for 7 generations, and we are the only family who has had 2 Governor Whitcombs. Well, two.
I know about the one.
Honey, you know that poet James Whitcomb Riley?
Yeah.
His daddy and mommy were good friends with the first Governor Whitcomb, James Whitcomb, back in the 1830s. And so, yeah, we are 7th generation Hoosiers. We've been here a long time. And I'm not thinking about that in a dynastic way. I'm thinking about it as growing up in a family of public service. That is the whole thing. In my biography, if you would, you can see that even starting in high school, I was a Girl Scout till I graduated from high school. I was a water safety council here in Seymour, Indiana. My whole life, I have been engaged in things that mostly surround education. But, and most recently, our class created a scholarship for graduates of Seymour High School. Last year we gave out $3,500. And so, I feel, Southern Indiana is a beautiful place. I'm glad to be from here. I went to public school down here, and then I had the good fortune of going to Butler University for my undergraduate and in teaching, and was a classroom teacher for many years. Went to University of Wyoming on a teaching assistantship where you get paid a very small amount of money and you teach a very big class, U.S. constitutional and Wyoming state government. And after that, I was very busy with working with Senator Birchby, and also worked on the campaign for Senator Evan Bayh. And I've had a career, it's a very checkered past, in investment banking for community redevelopment, that sort of thing, public relations and education. So I want to bring all these talents to the job of representing House District 69.
Well, can I say, first of all, it didn't actually dawn on me like you were the Whitcomb Riley. Come on. Does anybody think that, I'm related to every person last name Black? It just didn't dawn on me that you were, and that's actually speaks volumes to the person you are. You're not a pretentious human at all. Like, if anybody's going to be, in Hoosier standards, right? If anybody's could be pretentious, it is definitely somebody that's connected to Whitcomb Riley. Tell me why how did you stay so grounded and aren't a part of you don't have that aristocratic air?
My parents. My grandmother lived with us. I was very, very lucky. I had a very strong faith upbringing, and I still embrace that to this day. I think that growing up with parents who Dad was on the board of the Girls Club. Things like that. I'm very, very happy that I have the upbringing that I have, and that I am able to meet people where they are, because I think that's what we need in a civilized, civil world, is to not judge and just reach out and help each other as best we can.
So let me ask you this. You said that you did some investment banking and you were able to help organizations find the resources. What do you think that skill set that you have would be beneficial when you go in to talk about school funding, and that you understand the funding structure, and better yet, how will you use that skill to help with understanding this? Because apparently there's accountability.
Well, I'll tell you what, The accountability comes first, but I really feel like we need to reconfigure the funding base for schools. The referendum is the only way that school districts can get more money to operate. I think that puts a big burden on school personnel. They have to run campaigns. Why are we injecting more politics into education when we really should be taking them out?
Mm-hmm. They're trying to make them partisan now.
Yeah. The school board, school board elections. Yeah. It's very harmful.
Yeah. We see with the Medicare situation where the state ran out of money. Somebody didn't know how to count. The math wasn't mathing. And, I have this feeling that we need more financial institutional minded people in our state house who understand, because I ain't gonna pretend like I understand finance. I got a girl actually that handles my stuff. Like, look, I pull all the documents together and I give it to her. But it sounds like we need more people who are going to be committed to looking to those numbers. And I'm excited about hearing more about your campaign and why you're running. Phil, tell the people who you are and where you come from. I am just mumbling and bumbling today. First show, sorry.
Okay, yeah, my name's Phil Gift. I was born and raised in Fairmount, Indiana. Did grade 1 through 12 there. And little town. I don't know if how many people have heard of Fairmount, but little Quaker community. Actually, the name of our team was the Fairmount Quakers, which is very, very telling of the town, but doesn't exactly instill fear in opponents, like going up against the Tigers.
Not a Quaker.
The Quakers. Yeah.
You will never hear the fighting Quakers.
Yeah, it's really it's an oxymoron or whatever. Anyway, but anyway, so yeah, I did all 12 years there. Not a Rhodes Scholar, but I'm not a Rhodes Scholar, but I am a Rhodes Scholar. Got an associate when I got out of high school. I did an associate's degree in journalism from Vincennes University.
Nice.
Then jobs and relationships took me to Cincinnati, and I got a bachelor's degree in administrative management from the University of Cincinnati, and went to work for a company that did health testing for industry. Became interested in healthcare. Didn't have academic credential one, so I went to Ball State and got an RN degree.
I love it.
And and I think that's probably the most rewarding education I've ever done in my life. I really do. It's I worked at my first job. I started at Methodist Hospital, and then I went down and I worked at Winona Hospital. And I don't know if anybody even remembers Winona Hospital very well. Great hospital. It was at 32nd and Meridian.
Mm-hmm.
Did that. So moved down to McAllen, Texas, and worked at the McAllen Heart Hospital down there. So I had a lot of chance to see like what's going on the border. Sure, these don't know, McAllen, Texas is right on the Mexican border in southern Texas, in South Texas, the tip of Texas. So then my wife at the time and I decided to move back to Indiana. And I say back, she was from Texas, so she hadn't been here. And when we moved back, moved to Gaston, Indiana, and that's about halfway between Fairmount or halfway between Marion and Muncie. And went to work at the VA. Mm-hmm. My wife, she's a psych nurse, so she, they do a lot of psych stuff at the VA. I had heard so many bad things about the VA. I thought, I don't think I want to work there. I never thought about it. So, but she interviewed, and they said, they loved her because she'd started psychiatric day treatment programs and everything. So they go, well, we got a job for you too if you want to. And because I had done mostly cardiac stuff.
You say that so nonchalant. Oh, just mostly cardiac stuff.
Yeah.
If the ticket, ain't nobody doing nothing.
So anyway, the day I hit the door, well, I can't say the day I hit the door at the VA, but within 2 weeks, I totally loved the VA.
Love it.
I will tell you now, I think the VA is the best healthcare system in the world, and I will debate it with anybody that wants to debate that. So when I walked into the VA on day one, this was 2003. So the rest of the world was still, rest of the medical world was still slinging paper and everything.
Mhm.
Walked into the VA, they had a computerized system, and everything just seemed to click. So I stayed there for 17 years. Did most of my Marion stuff as a triage RN in the urgent care, was emergency care. Then it became urgent because we didn't really have any business taking emergencies. But so, and then from there I went to the Muncie community-based outpatient clinic, and that's where I ended my career there about 1970. I did go back and work a little bit.
Okay.
So anyway, and during that time, I did become active in our union, the American Federation of Government Employees, and then always on some level or another held an office. And then I served as our legislative political coordinator during most of that time. So,
you know what?
Anyway,
you're like,
and now here I am. I couldn't run for political office because I was a federal employee, and there was that Hatch Act thing.
Yeah,
Of course,
yeah.
Trump never paid any attention to, but I probably would have come after me a little stronger if I had.
Phil,
Right.
you clowning. You are dropping some gems, and you like doing it so like, yeah. And then I
thank
was
you.
in the union. You know, I was an officer. I mean, the year we just came off a year where unions have made life better for everybody. The UAW.
And you know what? I can't believe the people that are bad mouthing Biden right now. And we had a president who walked a picket line. Tell me when that ever happened.
Never.
Yeah,
Never.
that's the answer. Never.
And I mean, look, the UAW was so powerful and so successful. Give y'all raises. We just gonna go ahead and give y'all raises. But what's scary? I'm gonna let you get back in. But what's scary is if you listen to the last presidential debate, because I'm a junkie, I'm a sucker for even the idiots. They all bashed the unions and talked about how they wanted to bust them up in a year that unions had made so many gains to improve so many lives. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Wait, may I just interject
Absolutely.
this? Because it is even beyond unions. And I went to the legislative breakfast down here in Jackson County, and I can tell you that the big mantra now is there's a lot of freedom in a 1099 job, so much more than in an hourly salary or wage job. I mean, now come on, yeah, it's freedom from retirement benefits.
Yep.
It's freedom from health care. It's freedom from
paid time off.
And
freedom to work for less. Yeah.
Right. And so that's what the Republicans are pushing now. The 1099 gig is, the
and
job.
You don't even get a
future.
401k. You don't get a 401k. So when you doing a 1099 like labor job where it could be a little bit more difficult on your body, something that you can't do into your 70s, but you ain't don't have no 401k. I mean, It seems like somebody is profiting off of keeping people broke.
Oh, you think so?
I think Walter Mondale summed that up when he was running for president. And he said, I get the scariest feeling when I'm out there that people somehow feel it's patriotic to go broke. And he was right. He still is.
This is crazy. I mean, I'm listening to you drop these gems. Okay. And there's one other thing I want to just kind of like highlight. I mean, how cool is it that you two have basically reversed societal roles in that Trish, you're in finance, which there weren't a lot of women occupying that space, I imagine, when you began that career. And Phil, there weren't a lot of male nurses. Like, you guys are
I actually had a guy one time, oh, you're a male nurse. I said, no, I'm going to have a change of sex operation for your idea of a stereotype.
Exactly. But what I'm saying is, like, this is what I love about our party. We will take what you think is atypical and throw it upside down and put it on his head, because there's so much diversity even in our diversity. So can I just say, yo, how cool. I didn't know these things. Like, I didn't know it. So to have the role reversals is astonishing. All right, let's get into some policy. I think the folks get a good idea of who y'all are. Trish, why are you running for office?
I am running for office down here in Southern Indiana because I love this part of the state, and this part of the state has been neglected by people who have been elected and in Indianapolis too long.
A clown.
I'll give you a perfect example. Number one, when they redid the gasoline tax that's supposed to pay for bridges and roads and all that stuff, not only did they change it from you paying your taxes on the number of gallons to buy to the price, which increases with inflation, which is really stupid. They also reformulated the distribution. So now our rural counties here in Southern Indiana are getting less money. That can't happen. Every year, the General Assembly makes laws that target counties and target regions. It's time that this region gets targeted for more help. We have a county, Washington County doesn't even have a hospital now.
Wow.
You need to have a baby, you need to drive to Seymour, or you need to drive to Bedford or someplace else to have your child. That's really asking too much of people. The other thing is we need more mental health care down here because the opiate and meth problem is still raging down here.
Wow.
And when people need treatment, even if they wanted to get off the dope, they couldn't do it because they can't get the help they need. These are the problems that are not unique to Southern Indiana, but I'm here to fight for that. I'm here also to fight for affordability in housing, childcare, and public health. The accessibility and the affordability of those three things, our community leaders do a pretty good job of bringing jobs down here to Southern Indiana. But all the things that people need to support their ability to go to work, we're lacking. Employers tell me that the number one reason that they have problems with absenteeism at work is because of childcare. So these are the things that I'm going to be making a very big point of when I am elected and on the campaign trail.
Now, one of the things that I don't let folks do when they come on this show is to name their Republican opponent. But I just have a couple of questions for you. Okay. Will you be placing stockings over your head and mocking people who may be immune compromised?
No, you can count on me not to do that.
Okay.
And you can also count on me not to say, if you want a piece of cake job, be a teacher.
Will you get pulled over for a DUI and then chuck it up in the police car if you happen to? I mean, because it could happen. But I mean, would you chuck it up and then would you do that?
Well, would I offer a bill that says if you get arrested for erratic driving and they think that you are intoxicated with alcohol or THC, you can only be charged with one, not both.
Oh, what a sneaky fella. The guy that you're running against has been a clown and an embarrassment to our state house for several cycles now. In fact, his own party censured him. If your own party in Ruby Red, Indiana is censuring you, wouldn't it suggest that he has a question? He is of questionable character.
Well, I'll tell you what, it speaks to the corruption of the whole system. I'm sorry. These things don't happen in a vacuum. We have sweetheart deals going on in local government, not so much, but I'm talking about the shortened sentence that he got. Walk in, ask the judge, okay, you can go. That's part of the whole vibe in the state of Indiana when it comes to cronyism and corruption. And that comes from one party rule. And that is why it is so important that people understand breaking up that supermajority
it's critical.
is going to give more voices to the laws that we have here in Indiana. And that's a good thing for democracy.
Yeah, I think that seat, I want that clown show to end. That person is an embarrassment. I'm going to say things that you will not say, Trish, and I understand because you're the candidate, but he's a clown and he don't deserve to be where he is. You know, yes, he's there down with the cannabis, but even a broke clock is correct twice. So it's embarrassing to me that it would even be a close race, but it's going to be a close race because you're going to win. You're going to win that. Phil, tell people why you're running for office.
Because I can now. I don't work for the government anymore.
Come on.
And also, this whole Roe v. Wade thing was maybe the tipping point for me. I mean, I think this is the biggest human rights violation since slavery. When you tell a woman what she can and cannot do with her own body and how to manage a pregnancy, that's scary. And then to add to like even the scarier of scary, we had a Supreme Court that kind of agrees that women don't have the right to manage their own pregnancies. They do not have autonomy over their own bodies. That's a very, very scary scenario for me. And I'll tell you right now.
Can I ask you one question though?
There would be an abortion clinic on every corner.
I
cannot imagine.
Phil, real quick. I'm going to let you tell the rest of your story, but I want to ask this. Why is it scary for you?
For simply the fact that they can do that to another human being. And I do think and where I was headed was, I can't imagine me not having that choice, or I would have been raising hell about it forever. To tell me that, sometimes pregnancies happen, we've got two drives there. We've got species preservation, number one is self-preservation, and number two is species preservation.
Right.
So we're probably going to have some unwanted and unexpected pregnancies. So with even, maximum precautions, a woman can still find herself in that situation, and she should be able to manage it.
And may I add to that, Phil? Becoming pregnant shouldn't be a death sentence.
Mm-mm.
And that's what it is.
Yeah, or at least if you're going to raise a kid, a 20-year sentence and
I'm talking
a $600,000 fine.
Right.
And I can think of nothing else worse in the world to bring an unwanted child into this world. That's the most cruel thing anyone could do.
I'm talking also about the healthcare repercussions.
Mm-hmm.
We have people who do not want to practice OBGYN now.
Mm-hmm.
We have Indiana University sending their students out of state to learn this kind of reproductive health care. This is going to contribute to, we already have very high infant mortality rates, and we already have very high maternal mortality rates.
Which are
and that
disproportionately Black and brown
is just
communities.
going to get worse and worse.
Yeah.
What? I'm sorry, Dana.
I just had to throw that in there, which are disproportionately higher in Black and brown communities. Thank you.
Absolutely. No, it's just going to get worse and worse for everybody.
Markedly.
Yeah. Go on, Phil. Tell us why you running, bro. I'm sorry. You just keep, you're blowing my mind, bro. I'm just, keep talking. Why are you running? Keep talking. Abortion number one.
Yeah.
And that was, so if it hadn't been for the fact that you were in the federal government before, you probably would have ran for office before.
Most likely, because I've always been kind of a political junkie. And then, like I said, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed being active in the union, and looking at. Actually, I had read a lot of Ketanji Brown Jackson's opinions when Trump tried to dismantle our union as soon as he was there. I usually, if someone goes on this is on the Supreme Court, I've not read much of their opinions, but Ketanji Brown Jackson, she's brilliant. She's brilliant.
Yes, Justice Jackson is all of that. So guys, you talked about why you're running, And those are really, those are real goals because you see what we need to do to change the voices in our state house. But you also live in your communities. Trish, what are the people in your communities telling you that they need from us in the state house?
Thank you for asking. I'll tell you, I recently sent a survey out to young Democrats in this area, and I asked them about three main things: affordability of housing, affordability of childcare, and access to economic opportunity. And then I asked them, what do you like best about living here? And what do you think could be improved? Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you, their views mirror just what we're talking about. One of the things, healthcare is putting great pressure on people's budgets. Mm-hmm. Indiana is 7th in the nation for hospital costs, and that is taking its toll on our young people. They need a place to live. They can't find an affordable. They'd like to get a bigger house or a bigger place to live for their growing families. They can't afford it. They want to have access to good opportunities for growth in their careers, but they also understand that there will be sacrifices that they have to make to do that. And that means paying more for the very basic things that you need in a life. And I'll tell you what, though, the one thing they do like down here is that we have good parks and we have good amenities for people and low crime. So, those are good things. I'm glad to report that.
Yeah.
So that's what it's like living down here.
Phil, what are they telling you up there?
You basically just the issues that I mentioned, just lack of autonomy, and also, of course, and I've actually checked on our schools. It doesn't appear to be a huge issue, but the LGBTQ issue and the way they're being treated in the public schools.
Phil.
And that's it. I support outreach a lot, so I have a lot of contact with them. And Laura Janney, she started that, and she's just done a great job.
Oh
and,
my God!
So, pardon?
You're just blowing me away.
So, well, good, I guess. So anyway,
you're speaking my language, bro.
So I think that the biggest thing, and I'll tell you what, when you look at it, I think the scariest thing really is the fact that Donald Trump is leading in the polls and that he has a lot of Hoosiers supporting him. That's kind of infuriating, but also it's sad because that tells me that these people are scared to death.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know what it is that's scaring them. I really don't.
Their voters are scaring them. They're voters. They are afraid of their voters. It's really simple. They're afraid of them because they will call and threaten. If you do anything that they don't like, they will threaten your life. They will threaten your family. They will threaten your dog. These people are nuts. This is a cult.
And even Republicans, that poor, what's his name, Raffensperger out there in Georgia, he's a Republican.
These people are nuts. But you know what's even scarier is that we got one of those, king nuts running for governor and a king nut running for senator.
Yeah, and the sad thing is they don't respect the system, and the system's really simple. It's obvious to me that a lot of these people really, really snoozing during 8th grade government. 3 branches of government: executive, legislative, judicial. They're all autonomous. They stand individual on their own. How hard is that to understand? It looks like a lot of Republicans just don't quite get it.
Or they don't care. They don't care. Yeah. They may get it. They just want the power.
You repeat that lie over enough, and it becomes true. That's sort of the philosophy there. Fauci, God, I couldn't believe the way they went nuts on Fauci.
They couldn't hold a candle to Dr. Fauci's intelligence. I mean,
no, I actually no. Our one epidemiologist at Ball, Susan Basson, she actually worked with him a while, or he taught some classes. She was just talking about what a great guy he was and everything.
I love it. I mean, it's a clown show, man. And so as y'all think about, I think my main push this year, my tagline for everything is going to be time, talent, or treasure, to get rid of that supermajority and we need a statewide office, because I honestly believe that Indiana is about to be ground zero to the end of democracy if we don't get things together. We talked about, the governor, the guy that's running, the people that are happy to be endorsed by the 91 criminal charges and 4 indictments, getting their endorsement. But it's not just those two. There are people within that state house who are ready to just get rid of democracy. Let's dig into, because y'all didn't, this is a good conversation. Yes, we want to talk about policies and we want to talk about how we improve our communities, and we'll get there. But there seems to be a fundamental difference between people who believe in democracy and those that don't. Trish, what is happening to the boomers? And what are they teaching the Gen Xers and the Zs and the millennials? Because it's every generation. You can find one of these right-wing nuts in every one of these generations. Why are we believing the lie?
That's a multi-million-dollar question. When you talk about people getting elected and then going crazy, I don't know if you've ever heard my limestone fever line, but
tell it.
Yeah, limestone fever is not something that people who work in the quarries get, limestone quarries. It is what happens to people who are elected and return to that state house that is made of limestone. They get in there, they forget who elected them, they forget why they were sent there. They believe that their constituents are other legislators, lobbyists, and big money interests. And that is limestone fever. If you saw Common Cause's report from the legislature last year, over $20 million in one session gifts to legislators. We're talking about Pacer tickets. We're talking about Colts games. We're talking about very expensive dinners and trips. And as long as you report it, then that's okay. I will not let anybody buy me a cup of coffee, and I will be joining the Republicans and Democrats who have that rule of conduct and ethic for themselves. That's one of the things that you can count on me. I am not going to play that game. The whole thing about you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours, that thrives in a one-party system. And we have had, I know I need Republicans to vote for me to be elected, but I think those will be the Republicans who appreciate good government and who appreciate the democracy that we need to make sure that everybody advances.
I know both of you guys are talking to Republicans, right? You have to because of what your districts
I live
are.
in Gas, and I don't have any choice.
Yeah, because of the districts y'all are in.
Right.
I know that y'all talking to reasonable Republicans, right? Give me hope. Give me hope.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, they understand that, we can't have this favoritism and this cronyism if we're going to thrive as a state or even as a country. And so I hear that a bunch down here, and I'm happy to tell you that.
I love
it.
That means we got to get them turned out. That means we got to knock on their doors, and but in order for us to do that, we got to raise you some money. Y'all, if y'all liking this conversation, click on the donation link. This is a fundraiser. This is a digital fundraiser. Indiana's own Dana Black, Turn Left. We are changing the game on how we raise money for our local candidates. Phil, tell me what you hear. Are you talking to reasonable Republicans? Are you finding them up there where you are?
Yes, I am. And they're very concerned about what basically not even forget the gerrymandered districts, not allowing people to have their choice when it comes to like how to manage a pregnancy, whether or not to legalize cannabis. By the way, last year, year before last, Michigan threw $13 million into their educational fund with taxes from cannabis. Also, it's so that seems to be But they won't put that on a referendum. And like I said, a woman's right to choose, they won't put that.
Well, we
on
don't
a
have referendum, so.
Yeah, and that's it. I mean, so, basically they pass laws that the majority is opposed to.
But so they're angry
And also
about these
the
things.
voucher thing.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
No,
the
no.
voucher thing, huge, huge. People are sick of that. They want that money to go to their public schools.
And see, that's the thing. That's the question I'm asking. Like, are there enough of them? And can you get enough of them to not vote straight party ticket and vote for you? And are y'all like actively communicating and saying, hey, nobody knows what's happening to you when you go into the voting booth? Nobody can see what you do. I mean, are you guys having those conversations?
Dana, and Phil, we just had a little precinct level organization meeting yesterday, and one of the biggest topics was employer intimidation during the primary, and that they will tell their employees, we know how you're voting in the primary, and if you want to keep your job, you're not going to take that Democratic ballot. And so then
is that even legal? Is that legal?
Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. No. And so then later on in the afternoon, I was on a Zoom of women statewide, people who are, political consultants, activists, people who have served in government. And they said that it happens in their community too. Voter intimidation is rampant in our small communities. And that is going to be a big part of our campaign is these are your rights to vote. And this is how you can protect your privacy. And if anybody gives you a hard time about your privacy and your vote, we'll have someone there to protect it.
Well, and they can, even if they vote in the Republican primary, right? They pull the Republican primary ticket. They don't know who they're voting for in the general.
Right.
So I would say, look, don't even risk it. Go ahead and pull your Republican card in the primary. Just vote for me in the general because I don't have a primary opponent. Do y'all don't have primary opponents, do you?
Well, see, Phil hit the nail on the head. People have failed 8th grade civics.
Yeah.
They don't remember that your ballot is private in a general election. And so that is the main thing. Skip the primary or take a Republican ballot, whatever you have to do so that when it comes time to vote in that general, you'll be able to go vote.
Now, don't skip the primary. Go vote because we don't want nobody to skip nothing. Go vote.
Yeah.
But just when you're in the booth at the general, nobody needs to know what you did it all. Phil.
Hey, Dana, Dana, don't forget, if you take a bunch of Republican primary ballots, you won't be able to run as a Democrat.
This is true. Oh, yeah. Oh, you know what? It just hit me. There are probably Democrats in the crowd. Wow. My brain was still stuck on Republicans. Wow.
I'm such a mechanic. I can't forget these things.
Wow. I wasn't
actually just had a case like that in Delaware County. I can't recall all the specifics, but
you know what they should do? We should create I'm going to create a form and I'm going to distribute the form on social medias and then people can anonymously say, hey, I work at this organization. This person at this organization threatened me with losing my job if I pull a Democratic primary ticket. I think we'll do that. Nobody's going to hack my Google account, so I'm good. And then we can
go ahead.
We can put them on blast.
Well, here's the thing. Don't forget, I'm at ground zero for ballot access for John Rust in the Republican Party running against Jim Banks.
Mm.
Yeah.
And so, this and the constitutional protections that John Rust is seeking to run for U.S. Senate might not apply to statewide and local elections. But
while the smoke was still rolling out of the Capitol, January 6th, you had Banks, Baird, and Pence. Yeah, that election was crooked.
Yeah.
Well, it's not like, let me tell you something, Phil. I would take you in a dog fight any day of the week, even if they gave me all three of them clowns. I take you, me and you go.
That's it. Let's go.
Let's go. Because, I find it interesting, I got to ask this question because people get it mixed up with they don't understand a lot of individuality, right? They don't get it. They feel like, Phil lives in rural Indiana and Phil is an older white guy who's now retired. But bro, you sound as progressive as me.
Yeah, I get mistaken for a Republican a lot.
Hey, we can have us a plant. You could be our Kevin Hart. I didn't mean to do that, y'all. My bad. I mean, but look, was it all those years? My mother told me something when I was very young, and I felt like she may not have understood what it was for me to come out. And then she made me look like an idiot, and she said, Dana, I work in a hospital. And she was able to see everything. Did all those years working in healthcare, working in the hospital, and seeing people at their most needy, because they're literally in a place where they're seeking assistance or watching their loved ones needing assistance, did that create or did that help fuel your compassion for humanity? Because that's what I'm hearing. You can label all the different demographics you want, but what I'm hearing is compassion for other humans. Is that where that came from?
Right. It has, and I used to, when I was triage RN, I would take in all of our emergency detention orders, and those are people that have pulled some level of stuff or they're coming in, invariably by the time they got there and all of that, and the whatever police agency brought them in, and then our police grabbed them, and then they brought them to me, and and by then they were good. And they would say, yeah, it's all over, and you don't really judge anybody unless you've walked a lot of time in their shoes, and you don't do that, but you never know what kind of day the other person had. And so, I have a lot of faith that I work on two things in my life, and this helps me a lot, is I try to forgive. I don't, and even though I've just railed on the Republic, I forgive them. I think they're scared, and it's the same way. And I don't judge.
Yeah.
And that's up to a higher power to judge. So I really work on not judging, and that helps me in my day-to-day life.
Boy, you said a mouthful on this first episode of 2024 Turn Left. My God, you know what? This has been a really, really super fun conversation. But can y'all believe, we at the end? But before we go, I do need to ask y'all. I got one more question for each y'all, and it's going to be a lengthy question, so we'll be here a little longer.
Okay.
And I'm gonna start with you, Phil. Tell me, when you win your election in November of 2024, is the first piece of legislation you are going to work on?
A woman's right to choose, and secondly would probably be the voucher system, and then try to get legislation passed on legalizing cannabis. I know, at the VA, some guys would because we went nuts with this pain medication thing. We, probably were overprescribing. Well, later we underprescribed. And, I had a lot of guys say, oh, it's fine. I'll just head up to Michigan, so.
I love it. I love it. Trish, when you win your election in November 2024, what is the first piece of legislation you're going to work on?
School accountability, school finance accountability, because, that is the only thing the only tool we have to make sure that we have a higher quality education. That is my number one thing. Absolutely. I mean, I would also look at IDAC and the billions of dollars, multi-millions of dollars that are going into projects, and local governments don't have anything to say about them, and they're taking water from everybody and all that good stuff.
Yeah,
but,
that's true.
There's a lot, Dana. It's going to be a big first day for Phil and me both.
I love it. And I think I might have to take off work for that first day just so I can be there. You know what, guys? This is what the year is going to be. I did not know that popping the cork on the 2024 season, the 7th season of Turn Left, was going to be this amazing. You guys made this show amazing. I want y'all to know, this was great. This was freaking.
Well, I had a lot of fun, so.
Well, you're still smiling. That's a good thing. You're still smiling.
Yeah,
Okay. And this is what Turn Left is about, guys. We can talk. We know the issues. We're Democrats. Republicans ain't listening to Turn Left, right? They're not.
Read books and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not listening to me. But this is a way for us as Democrats to be community, for us to be community with each other. There's a reason why I do this. There's a reason why I built an entire studio in my condo so I can have say over how this show is ran. Can't nobody say nothing what's happening over here but me. Nobody. So if somebody who has some grandiose imagination about who they are in the party ain't running me. Dana's running me, right?
Yeah.
And if you are not committed to electing Democrats, and I'm not trying to tell y'all that every Democrat is fantastic. I'm not trying to tell you that. I'm not even going to tell you that you're going to get if you can get with a Democrat about 75% of the time, you in good shape. So now here's the ask. These candidates need your time, talent, and treasure. So, Phil, tell the people where they can find you.
Act Blue. Just go in, search. You go to the link. I'm on Facebook. I got a Phil Gift for House of Representatives Facebook page. I'm on Act Blue. You don't even have to get to the right link. There's not that many Phil Gifts on Act Blue. I think it was Joe Smith or something. It'd be a little problem, but yeah, right there. Actually, I'm not too far from Phil Giaquinta. So
no, you're not. I did find that an interesting. I love it. Trish, tell the people where they can find you.
Oh, please go to my website, Whitcomb, 4, Indiana.com, because I got my link to Act Blue right there, and it'll make it easy for you to donate. But also, even if you live someplace else in Indiana and you want to come down and help us out in Southern Indiana, you are welcome, because we are going to be burning up the streets. We'll be knocking on doors. We will be having all kinds of events for people to come to get to know me and the things that Democrats believe in. And not even just Democrats, people who believe in common sense.
Common sense and democracy.
They will find a home with us.
I love
so
it.
It's Whitcomb for Indiana.
I love it. And do either of you have any events or fundraisers coming up that people might want to attend?
I have nothing on the schedule right now, but they will be coming up. We're going to go, of course, just, register to get on the ballot on January 10th at the State House. I have some friends that are going. We're all going to go together. You've got Sue Arrington, incumbent in 34. I'm running for 35. And then a friend of mine, great friend of mine, John Bartlett, 33. He's going to run again this year. So we're all three going to do a little junket over to the State House.
I love it.
I love them.
Community.
I love those guys. Tell them I say hi.
And I'm going to probably have them all on the show.
Good. Now, we are really focusing on our precinct level organization.
Okay.
So on my website, we will be posting some will be virtual and some will be in person. We'll be posting those up. February 2nd, we're having a happy hour for young Democrats here in Seymour. And I'm so excited about that. And we will be handing out, just to let you know, we will be handing out personal breathalyzers to everyone so they can make sure they're going to be safe on the streets. So looking forward to it.
I love it. Take a buddy, get a designated driver, all those things. I love all of this. So guys, you heard from the candidates. Again, we're all on the same page. I can sit around. We could talk about the environment. We could talk about our veterans care. We could talk about public education. We could talk about, criminal justice reform. We're all pretty much as Democrats on that same page, right? But I think the whole purpose of this show is for you to get an opportunity to meet these candidates and hear from their voice how they view these issues. We're not going to agree 100% of the time. I need y'all to get that. We're just not. And there may be a time where a candidate may or may not say something that they feel like, I got to count my votes because this is politics. But if we want to stop the destruction of our democracy and the institutions that protect them, We have got to end that supermajority. We cannot afford to go another 4 years with a ridiculous supermajority. We cannot. Exceptions, of rape, incest, and the health of the mother. Do y'all remember when Sarah Palin was talking about, because she was one of the first idiots, right, that they let bust through the bubble. When they talked about the death panels, you remember that? Yeah. Obamacare was going to bring death panels, and somebody was going to decide on who lives or die. Isn't that what they did in Texas to that poor woman?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Isn't that what they did? Mm-hmm. They have like 12 women suing the state of Texas right now because the attorney general felt like they understood what she needed better than her doctors did. The people that actually went to medical school. Yeah. I don't know how law school translates into a medical license, but hey. But this is what's happening. They've been lying to you. Just like they started off with trickle-down economics. They were lying to you. They said trickle-down economics. No, we're going to get these tax breaks to these wealthy people, and it's going to trickle down. They are lying to you. Y'all didn't want to listen to black folk. We tried to tell you. You didn't want to listen to the Native Americans. We tried to fucking tell you. Now they coming. Remember they said they came for the Jews, and we didn't say nothing. They came for the Hispanics. We didn't say nothing. Now they coming for you. Mm-hmm. You didn't want to hear it. You don't want to ass be on film. Y'all said that, well, he was driving too fast in his Hyundai. Are you serious? But now it's coming home to roost. As Malcolm says, the roosters are coming home, baby. And if you're not paying attention, you're going to be broke, hungry, homeless, all of that, because they don't give a damn. They don't care about you. They don't care about democracy. They don't care about the rule of law. They care about power. All they care about is power. So get on this trip with me. Come on this journey with me. Turn left and come on this journey with me. And this is the way it's going to be all year long. I'm going to be hype. I'm going to be raw. I'm going to be calling it out. Jim Banks is a clown. Mike Braun is a clown. Attorney General Todd Rokita is a clown. He's the worst kind of clown. He's too stupid to be a good clown. He put his nose on his ass. You see what I'm saying? I'm not pulling no punches because I need y'all to get hype with me. Because pretty soon, if you are not a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant religious right-wing nut, it will not be safe to live in Indiana. Forget all that dumb stuff. It won't even be safe to live. I need you to understand the severity and how real this is. They tried to overthrow the government on January 6th. They know what they did wrong now. They know what they got wrong now. So please get involved. Donate to these candidates. Continue to watch Turn Left. If there's something that you want to hear or see or you want me to do, let me know. Go to Trish Whitcomb's page. Go to Phil's page. Donate. Click the donate link. And I've got guests for next week. And then I'm off for a week. I got to go down to New Orleans. But then I'll be back. But we're going to bring you as many guests as we can. And if there's an opportunity for me to interview somebody, it's like a half an hour special. I'm going to try to do that. But the whole goal is to keep us an educated electorate. All right? I'm going to shut up now. All right. Indiana's own Dana Black. Turn Left. I'll holler at y'all next week. Peace.
Turn Left is the property of Black Pearl IT Solutions. Executive producer, Indiana's own Dana Black. Music by www.bensound.com.